Yes, and we're back. Welcome back to the Celtic Unrestricted View. Are fans being priced out of football? My good man, Alan Stirling. How are you, mate? This is roughly what we're going to chat about today. Is our football fans basically getting robbed in Scotland of tickets, prices? Is it too much expenditure, including everything else that goes with your ticket price, Alan? But how are you, mate? And I just thought it would be good to get a wee chat today about obviously that. It's something different. It's something that we see a lot on social media as well, especially with Celtic, but especially with Scotland in general. You look at other countries, mate, it's cheaper, and some teams are big teams and they don't really charge as much as well, and the quality you've got to take in as well. But how are you, mate? And I just thought we get a wee chat about something different today.
No, very well. Hope you're well. Hope everyone else that's watching's well. Yeah, no, it seems to be a pretty prevalent topic just now. A lot of the supporters and fans have got an opinion, whether it be one way or the other. So we're looking for kind of subjects that we can speak about now that we're kind of leaning towards wrapping up a treble. So yeah, it is. I'm sure we'll dig into it more, but I'm of the opinion that it's getting to a point that it's costing far too much for everything involving football. I think it's a case of kind of read the room. There is a number of things that's been kind of increased over the last kind of few months. You're looking at the season book prices. You're looking at your memorabilia and football tops have increased as well, and then you're kind of asking for £25 for a friendly ticket, whereas we've seen in years gone past it used to be part of the season book. Used to have kind of a cup game, or whether that be a European qualifier, and now there's basically no total appreciation to see to kind of thank the fans for all the support. So yeah, it's a kind of read the room by Celtic. You're looking at other things with regards to we've mentioned before. Speaker rights, we charging the best part of £60 for to go and see Martin O'Neill, which is pretty extravagant, to be honest. It's quite a lot of money to spend when you look at how much money we're already spending as football fans. So yeah, I think it is supply and demand, but I think the club at this stage might be slightly taking advantage of the fans, and they know that the fans will pay that because we have got a support that will always be there, shall we say?
Aye, I think you're right, Alan. In terms of not just Celtic, but I think Scottish football in general, Alan, I think it's getting priced out. We'll nip into that a bit. We'll mate once get some of the comments. Plunge has said afternoon trips. Afternoon, mate, hope you're well. Tommy says, hail, hail, Ryan and Alan. Hail, hail, Tommy, hope you're very well. Nice sunny day outside. Chris Murray is also in. Afternoon, boys, and the chat. Plunge says we're getting priced out. £25 a friendly. We'll touch on that, mate. Ryan Moore, afternoon, gents. Hope you're well, Ryan. Hope you're well. George says, all right, boys. El Scotcho here, and I'm guessing that's Northern Ireland, maybe. NI, good to see you again. Good to see you at Dunmarnock Gary's last year. I thought it was you, George, but I wasn't sure who it was, mate. But I hope you're well. Always good to see people, mate. But aye, like you touched on there, mate. There's a good man, Nick, is in as well. Afternoon, Nick. Hope you're well, mate. We're all good. We're all good, mate. Obviously, Alan, like you say there, the ticket prices, like you said, mate. So, obviously, starting off with, I think we could just mention, obviously, the Newcastle friendly that we knew was coming, but we didn't know when it was or what date, etc. 19th of July, £25. It's not on the book. There will be pros and cons to people thinking that, oh, it's good for people who are not on the book holding situation to go and get a ticket. We'll touch on that obviously as well, but only as a season book holder, £25 for me. It's not really pricey in general terms, right? £25 for a game against Newcastle. I think that's actually pretty cheap, but considering it's pre-season, it might not even be Newcastle's main team that's going to be playing. It could be some of the young boys. I wouldn't imagine it'll be a full crowd, people on holidays and stuff like that. So I just think maybe, I think you mentioned it pretty spot on, mate, start the show there. Bit of a read the room situation. Even if you're a book holder, you get a discount. If it's £25 for a flat rate for maybe people who aren't season book holders, then fair enough. That's an opportunity for them to go, maybe take their kids, etc., or take family members. But if you're a book holder, like you said, a wee bit of, we're not asking for much as fans. I know, listen, you celebrate winning trophies and trebles and doubles and derby victories and that. Listen, that all comes with your team being good and you pay for that. I totally get that and I understand that. But I think giving a wee tiny bit back to the fans, Alan, goes a long way. And even this current climate with the money situation as well, Alan, I think maybe the £25 for book holders, like you say, normally you get either a qualifier fee, which obviously who knows if we get the playoff fee. Being honest, I can't see it, but I'd like to think there'd be some sort of discount or something, like you says, for the fans. A bit of appreciation for the support. They talk about how football for fans is for nothing and loyalty for your support, but you're not really getting anything back for it in terms of maybe help financially or even a discount at the shop or some money off the Celtic TV, something like that. But on the Newcastle friendly, mate, what's your take on that? So the friendly itself and obviously the pricing of it.
As we spoke about, we know it's no massive amounts of money for a friendly, but a little gesture, shall we say? I think that's probably the best wording possible to say that a little gesture to know that the fans are appreciated, and it just looks as if the fans just now are being used as a cash cow. That's all it looks like, because you look at every single part of kind of match day experience, everything's increasing, whether that be, oh, there's my cousin on.
All right, Dale.
Aye, whether that be that you're paying more for a season book, you're paying more for an actual ticket, you're paying more for uh, the memorabilia, a scarf, you're paying £6 for a hot dog, etc. So these kind of prices are just continuing to kind of force some of the fans away from going to games. There will always be the demand there. There will be kind of people that will come in and take the ticket, but is that really fair? Are we kind of we're in Scottish football? I know it's going to be Newcastle, and as you mentioned about is it going to be their full team? That's extremely doubtful because you look at that's pretty early on for especially the English season. I'm sure they start back. I think it's 2 or 3 weeks after the Scottish season starts back. So you would expect a high majority of their players will be kind of still on breaks, etc. So is it really value for money? I get what you're saying about the other people that maybe don't get to games can maybe get to that particular game. But for me, it just seems like every time you turn around just now, if you're a Celtic fan, everything's increasing, and the club are kind of you don't need to buy it, but the club are putting stuff out there that you want to buy it as a supporter, and especially if you've got family, if you've got children, etc. Then there's that added pressure upon you that basically children are asking for. Most of the football tops are asking for what type of memorabilia, etc. So I think it's getting near a point that it's starting to price a lot of people out of kind of going to support the club that we love. I don't like the way it's going just now because, as we've spoken about previously, you look at other countries that are higher calibre of football with regards to kind of Germany as well, that they put on a lot of incentives to get fans back into football, whether that be kind of £15, £20 a ticket. That's for the high class games. They put on kind of free public transport to get to the football games as well. There seems to be nothing. There has to be a bit of give and take, and just now there seems to be nothing apart from kind of taking in regards to Celtic and the rest of Scottish football. We can't just kind of point the finger at Celtic every time. But for me, I don't necessarily believe in the whole or because we're successful that should mean that we are paying a much higher premium. If that works out like that, say I've said to you before, say a disaster happens in next season, we happen that we don't win any trophies. Does that mean we've paid a higher premium? Does that mean Celtic return the money? Does that you've paid that in advance? You're paying for your season book. You're paying for memorabilia, etc., at a higher rate. If Celtic don't succeed, does that mean Celtic are liable to give back money? It doesn't work like that. So, for starters, I don't think that we should be 25% more than any other club, especially with rivals across the city, because you look, it's basically 50-50 across Glasgow. So if we are paying substantially more than working our rivals in Glasgow, it sometimes can feel like a bit of a kick in the teeth, but it is what it is. Celtic know there's a demand there. They're putting out the supply. They know that tickets and memorabilia will be kind of people will be buying that up. So you're in a kind of rock between a rock and a hard place. But I just think it's getting to a point now that they're starting to push the boat out just a wee bit too much, and it's starting to kind of price a lot of people out to going to see the team they love.
Obviously, as well, I know football clubs are a business, and I understand that clubs need to make money and they need to generate money and they need to always be in the financial front foot. And I totally get that and I understand it. I understand to make things now it's getting dearer, and I understand all that type of stuff. But like you said, it's just a wee bit of maybe leeway with the supporters, like you say, in terms of the season books and stuff. They used to have a qualifier, one friendly or two friendlies used to be on the book. But it looks at it, unless they organise a friendly after the game in Newcastle at home, I doubt it. James Forrest's testimonial game wasn't even free. You had to pay for that as well. That was only friendly at home we had that year as well. I'm sure it was Bilbao, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So it's wee small things like that. And obviously a lot of people during COVID, which is no Celtic's fault, but had to pay their full season book. And I think all we got was a voucher. It's I know other clubs are the same, so it's not just Celtic. It's a lot of Scottish football are the same. A wee comment here from a good man, Nick. He says, "Here, lads, Alan is the guru stat. Did you see the current situation regarding seeding for the playoff for the CL next season? Apparently, we are looking for being unseeded." I will touch on that, mate, 2 wee seconds, Nick. Aye, 100%, mate. Just to get this wee question here. It was from Edward. Hope you're well, Edward. What price is it for non-season book holders for the Newcastle game? Taking the wee man. I think it's £25, I think, mate. The concessions will be, I'm
It's
sure it was, I'm sure it was
17.
£17, I seen, Edward. I might be wrong.
I'm pretty
But I'm
sure
sure
it's
it's a,
17 quid.
aye, so if you just go online, Edward, to the website, you'll be able to see ticket prices. If not, you can nip into the ticket office or even just give me a message, mate. I'll have a look for you. But on that is what James says. After paying my season book money, friendly should be on the card. A lot of fans think the same, James. A lot of fans are maybe the opposite and say, well, we're a fan, we'll pay the money, it's what it is. And some fans are saying, no, we deserve a wee bit of discount, or it should be free on the card, which is, listen, a lot of people are going to have to and fro between debates on all the conversations. It's just a bit of opinions. But I back to that, Aaron. What's your thoughts on Nick's comment there?
Yeah, no, I think, was it yesterday, the day before, I'd said, in the
Yeah,
chat regarding that. I think it turns out because Ferenc Faros they've just pipped us into that last spot of the seedings. That as it stands at the minute, obviously the seasons aren't finished. So as it stands at the minute, it would mean that we've just missed out on the being seeded for that playoff round. Which, when you look at the comparison between the teams that we could have got if we were seeded and the teams that we can get now being unseeded, it does look a lot more difficult, shall we say. You've got teams that are seeded, the likes of I think it was Red Star Belgrade, Bodo Glimt, I mean, Ferenc Faros. There was one we played, Dynamo Zagreb as well.
Zagreb.
Aye, so there is teams there that we have played previously and we've faltered against previously. When you look at the likes of Bodo Glimt, we've played Ferencváros a few times. Some of them, a couple have been successful, a couple not so much. But so it does make it more kind of difficult when you're looking at if we go in unseeded. It's still well within our capabilities that these kind of ties are achievable. That it's no as if we're playing against kind of. I remember a Champions League playoff round. I'm sure Massimo Donati scored. It was we got Arsenal and
Yeah.
we were unseeded in the non-champions route. That must have been
Was that no one in
maybe
Mo? Was that no one in? Was that no one in
2008.
Mo? Was that no one in? The time we know we left. Who left after that game? Somebody left. I'm sure after the Arsenal game. Who was it? I'm sure a player left after that game.
But it
Or was
would
it?
have been round about kind of Mowbray
Or was it
strategy.
Mo? Or was it no Mowbray that left? No, it was Stanley signed Donati,
Mowbray
didn't he?
Mowbray left after we got beat 4-1 off St Mum, and I
Who
think
was
that was
it?
like
I'm
December
sure
time.
somebody left Celtic after the Arsenal game. He scored. Who scored for Celtic again? I was Donati. He left after
Donati
that
scored.
game. He left after that game. I'm sure
Remember
that
Donati
window.
scored?
I'm sure he left after that game.
Was it all got 5-2 or something in aggregate? Something
Aye,
like that.
he scored. He scored a good goal, didn't he? It was a cracking
Aye.
finish. I'm sure he. If anybody in the comments can remind me here, but I'm sure he left after that game. No long after that, I'm sure he went to. Where was it? Donati went to? Was it no Italy? Back to Italy he went to.
No, Brescia.
I'm,
Or is
I'm
that
sure.
probably
I'm
my
sure he
heat?
went back to Italy. But if anybody in the comments can correct me here, but I'm sure he left no long after that.
But when you, that's what I'm saying. When you look at comparison, if you're good in the kind of non-champions
Ah,
route,
that's there. Cheers, JP. Hope you're well, mate. Hope you're well, big one.
aye. So you're looking down that road. The non-champions route is a lot more difficult. But
See you later, James. Take care, mate.
I take care of it. We could have had it quite a bit easier if we managed to get into the kind of seeding. So it just shows how important it is that we need to start building up the coefficient points again, because it is going to come back to bite us like it is just maybe not as much now in this kind of playoff round because it is still achievable. But if you continue to kind of build up no very much coefficient points over the years, then it takes you further and further down the list, and that means you're going to be playing kind of more qualifiers against the kind of higher opposition, more difficult qualifiers. So yeah, I know we had a pretty successful kind of European campaign last year. I think in comparison to other years, we were really happy with how that went. Barry.
Barry.
Uh,
I knew he went to Italy, JP, but I just wasn't sure where he went to. Cheers, mate.
So we need to make sure that we continue what we started last year. Basically, I think that it's imperative that we qualify for this Champions League, and we make sure that we've set that standard last year, that the minimum we expect will be getting into that kind of that playoff round for the last. Is it the last 24 or something? Because you've got 8 that qualify, and then you've got another 16. So it'd be the last 24 that you're getting into. So I think in years upcoming we need to make sure that we continue to do that, so that our coefficient rate kind of continues to build. And hopefully in the next couple of years we can expect, if we win the league, then we go directly back into the competition if we continue to do so well. So yeah, it's no, just regards to the question, it's no the end of the world, Nick, but it could have made life a little easier for Celtic, shall we say. But the season's not finished yet, so there's still possibilities that we can get into that seeding. But we just need to kind of take it how it is, and make sure that we do our transfer business kind of quickly and properly, shall we say.
I think that's the thing for me, Alan, on that. It's getting the players in that maybe Brendan wants, just to make sure we get in the playoff, because I don't feel we can go in with the same team. I think you need to add maybe a bit of freshness, even if it's one player, just somebody that gives you a bit of quality to add to the team. So no matter who we get in the playoff, Alan, you know yourself, mate, and the viewers will understand as well that by watching football, you know that these playoffs are difficult no matter who you play against, just because it's early season, teams might not be kind of to get
A lot of these
along
teams have
and
already started their seasons
aye,
before us as well, Ryan. So
aye,
some of them
hmm
are halfway through their seasons. When you look at the likes of kind of Bodo Glimt, I think when they obviously geographically where they play, it's not feasible for them to kind of just
yeah.
be starting their season at that time. So it does make it more difficult when we are just coming through a kind of pre-season. Uh, at that time, we'll have very little kind of domestic football that we would have played. So yeah, we need to be as prepared as well prepared as possible because there is a good chance that some of these other teams will have kind of started to play games before us. Exactly, but I don't know. Aye, aye. So there is a few permutations, Mick. Nick. There is a few permutations. So I think there is kind of a few games to go. It does look likely that the way the coefficient standings are at the minute, that's the way that it could finish. But you know yourself in football, anything can happen. And just to see how it happens and make sure we're in the best place possible. As we say there, with regards to kind of signing players, good pre-season, bringing players in, and just make sure that we are in a great place to go through and qualify. No worry about the opposition, basically.
That's aye, I think what you've said there, Alan, spot on, because I think we need to be basically ready to go because we, in my opinion, we need to qualify for it. I know you can get Europa League, but financially, in terms of what for us to move forward, in my opinion, if we want to keep spending your £9 million in Needers or your 11 million in Engels, your six in Thursday, Bernardo's and 4.5. If we want to keep spending big money like that, we need to be in the biggest financial pot, which is the format of the Champions League. So we need to be in that every season as we can. But the thing that annoys me, Alan, I know we'll go back on to about the pricing because there's obviously one or two bits more to talk about in that. But just on our conversation, it's a good chat that Nick's brought up, and it's brought a good conversation here.
Yeah.
So, but in terms of, I've heard down south as well, there's a possibility that I think there's a fifth place might get, I don't know if it's this season or next season, into the format, into Champions League right away.
It's this season.
This season,
Uh,
right? So
uh,
five teams in the league are going to get the big format in Europe, right? But yet Celtic or Rangers or Aberdeen, whoever it is, wins the Scottish League, has to qualify.
but there
Due
might be
to
six as well, Ryan,
uh,
because then you look at who does it look like the Europa
Spurs or
League
Man
finals
U,
going to be?
possibly. Aye, so
They go
that's a good
directly into
point,
it as
aye.
well.
So, aye, but for me, I don't really think on that, but that's what Nick just said there, it looks like six. I think it's the way that the format and the way the qualifying process and again, listen, it's not all Celtic, but it's not really Celtic and Rangers' fault because when teams like Aberdeen and Motherwell and Hibs and St Mirren and Kilmarnock, when they all get to qualifiers, they get put out. Kilmarnock get beat after like Connah's Quay and teams like that. So that's not helping Celtic Rangers. I know Rangers have got to quarter-finals of the Europa League, they've got to the final. Celtic got to knockout phase last year in terms of the format. So Celtic Rangers still doing all right in Europe in terms of Celtic got a few wins last year, a few draws, that points and money. So it's Celtic Rangers are only the reason why the coefficient's not really doing well. It's other teams when they get to the conference qualifiers, etc., and they're getting put out. So the more teams in Scotland and Europe who can qualify, i.e. for the Europa League or the Conference League, then it's going to help the coefficient as well, but it'll help Celtic Rangers then get right in as well. Or if miracles happen at Hearts or Aberdeen win the league, they'll get in right away. Because look at Hearts last year. I think they only had to beat a team. I think,
Patrol factor or something.
aye,
Or,
again, gamble responsibly, but I'm sure the odds of the team were, I think Hearts were 20-1 on or something to win the game. It was ridiculous. It was like playing East Stirling at home and they get beat. And I think that put them out
or
the
they do,
conference. Aye, so that put them out the conference. So it's things like that. It's not really all Celtic and Rangers. Celtic don't qualify and Rangers don't qualify. But it's other teams in Scotland don't help either by no winning or qualifiers. But for me, Alan, I think it's crazy how Spurs and Man U could finish 14th, 15th, 16th in the Premier League And just because they win Europa League, they're right into the Champions League. Leicester won the league, right? Fair enough, they won the league, but years ago, apart from that, before that they've done nothing. So how have they put the points and everything else to be worthy are going in right away? But because they've played down south and they win the league, that's obviously that goes in hand in hand. You win the Premier League, you're right in. You tap four, you're right in. It's so if a team like Brighton, who have not really played in European football for a consistent basis at all, say they finish third, they get into the Champions League, and say we win the league with 103 points, we score millions of goals, but we need to then qualify. For me, mate, it's I get and I understand how it works, but it's pretty shit. Sorry for swearing, but it's pretty shit that the winner of a league has to qualify.
It
And it's
takes away
called
from
the Champions League.
that's what I was just going to say. It takes away from the whole point that it's called the Champions League, but you know that this is all kind of generated by TV and generated by kind of finances. So, I you're looking at the like, but when you get England or do as well, they might all be cash-rich clubs. But when's the last time you've seen an English team that have kind of faltered very badly and fell out at an early stage in qualifying? That's the reason why they get all these coefficient points. That's the reason why they've got so many clubs in there, because they have over the piece they've been consistently doing very well. Even mentioning Leicester there, when my good man Brendan Rodgers was there to get to a semi-final of the Conference League. So I know that's only Leicester, but the prospect to see a team like Hearts doing that is that's unfathomable. You can't even imagine that taking place. It just seems that consistently every one of the teams that's kind of qualifying through the English route are they're they're doing reasonably well, shall we say, and that's what's building up coefficient points, and they've just kind of kept building for there. I do agree with you that if it's champions for no champions for every country, shall we say, because there is a lot smaller countries in kind of European football than Scotland, shall we say. But I I just believe that the majority of the clubs that are winning their kind of domestic leagues, they should have a better opportunity to kind of go directly into that. Because it just there's no point in calling it a Champions League anymore, because you're looking at you're looking at this year, right? It could be Inter Milan and Arsenal final. Inter Milan or Arsenal are they going to win the league, are they? I couldn't tell you if Inter Milan won it. No, they didn't win it last year. It was Napoli won it. So
I
you
don't
look at
know.
that.
I don't know. I know top the league, you know,
I'm sure they were second in the
in the second.
Napoli won it last year. That was the first time in a while, didn't they? Because it was big
Mm-hmm.
mad parties. So, but you look
Aye.
at last year. So it could be. I know it looks more likely that it's Paris Saint Germain, but as we stand just now, it could be an Arsenal and Inter Milan final, and none of them won the league. So you're looking at a final of the Champions League where none of them were champions. That's a distinct possibility. Personally, I think Paris Saint Germain will probably put Arsenal out tonight. I think they look like a pretty decent side, and watching the game last night as well, I was really impressed with Inter Milan. They've not really get they've not got many players that you're saying that kind of stand out, but the way they're set up, the way they're kind of playing football, I really enjoyed watching the game and thought they were
Mm-hmm.
very well organised, and every one of them was kind of fighting for each other. So it'll be interesting to see what happens tonight. But yeah, I would like to see for the smaller clubs that kind of a difference happening in the Champions League. But I think last year that change that happened, the the way that it's not a group stage anymore. I think we seen the benefits of that last year, because we get an extremely favourable run of games, shall we say. I don't think we could have really handpicked a better run of games. I think that it might come back to bite us if we qualify next year. Or here's hoping we still get a kind of favourable draw. but it does seem to help the kind of smaller teams, and you've seen that as well. There was a lot of kind of some bigger teams that didn't qualify. You look at the winless run that the likes of kind of RB Leipzig went on. I think was that the first 6 games or something that every one of them they get beat. I'm sure.
To
So
be fair, I think I agree with you there, mate, in terms of we get the fruits of it. Listen, we still had hard teams to beat, right? But like you say, I think they had Leipzig, Liverpool as well, and I think they had quite a hard draw. Leipzig, I know they're a decently big team in Germany. They can spend more than what we can, but just shows you, Alan, that the luck. I don't want to say the luck of the draw, but aye, well, in terms of it as a lucky draw, who you get, but we got a very favourable draw. You still got to turn up. You still need to win the games. You still need to put the effort in and try and navigate the games. But Leipzig, even though they're a quality team in terms of some of the players they've got, they still found it hard.
I think where it favours clubs like Celtic, where it favours clubs for smaller leagues. I'm not going to say smaller clubs because we know how massive an institution that Glasgow Celtic is, but how it favours kind of clubs with smaller leagues is that the seeding the seeding basically goes out the window because you're drawn against another two teams for each seeding pot. So you're getting two teams for your pot anyway. So everybody's on basically the same wavelength. You're getting two teams for each pot. Every single team is getting that. Whereas usually we were sitting in pot four, and we were never getting a team that was basically on the same standard and the same level that's measured by coefficient points. Now we are. Now we've got an opportunity that we are playing teams that are kind of floating about the standard where we are. So we've got 2 games at least there that we're going to play. We're going to play teams for pot four, which I think it favours clubs like Celtic, and long may it continue. But obviously, we need to make sure we qualify first because it's not going to be, it's no gimme, shall we say. It's going to be kind of just after pre-season. No played much kind of domestic football, and we need to make sure we're at the top of our game. So because it is a massive financial pot that we're looking to gain again, and I think we need investment kind of big before we play those games to make sure that we're qualifying. We need to speculate to accumulate basically. We need to spend the money before we're playing that game so that we can recuperate that back. So aye, it just it's sometimes a tad easier, shall we say, JP. I hope you're well anyway, mate. It's a tad easier if we were seeded in that. I'm not saying it's a massive difference, but it would have maybe made it a wee bit more comfortable for us if we played teams that are unseeded. You can see the difference maybe between like the Bodo Glimt that are semi finalists in the Europa League, and then I can't even remember the ones that are in with the
I think Slovan Bratislava are one, aren't they?
Aye, so you're looking at the difference in levels between them. So it would have made a slight difference, but as we said earlier in the programme, I think we just need to concentrate ourselves. We need to make sure we're at the highest level we can possibly be. Make sure that we're getting the transfer business done early. We can't have this kind of waiting to the last day again. I know everybody says transfers takes time. Every year it happens, but we can't possibly do that. We can't gamble. We not get into the Champions League. It was different last year, whereas we're directly into the Champions League. This year we can't gamble with that. We need to make sure that business is done well before. Get the players in that we need and get them bedded in. Get them to get to know the city, get to know the culture, get to know the club, the players, etc. So that they're comfortable with this, because it is a massive tie that it's going to be in this playoff round, financially and for coefficient points for us going forward. It's probably one of the biggest games we'll have, and whether it be years gone past or kind of the upcoming years, because we need to make sure that we are climbing that coefficient ladder, because we need to get back at direct into the Champions League, and and stay there. And that's the only way that we're going to grow the coefficient if we continue to kind of have seasons like we did last year. So I let's just stay positive. Hope we get all our business done, but we need to make sure it's massively important that the business gets done early this year. No kind of leaving it to the last week or the last couple of days.
I know I'm agreeing with you, Alan. I think that because we need to play a playoff, we need to make sure we're in the Champions League. And by doing that, there's a wee bit of investment added to it because we don't know if we'll get a sucker punch. Is Maeda going to go? Is Kuhn going to go? Because I know we'll touch on it as we go along into pre-season, but I've got a feeling we'll get a bid for Maeda. I think somebody will test the water for him. Bear in mind his age as well, so it could put a wee spanner in the works. You've got obviously Kuhn as well, so Carter Vickers, is he going to go? Has he had enough of the Scottish football? Who knows? We don't know. So I think you're right, mate, that if there's a season of seasons that we need to do things quick, it's this season because the financial implications of no qualifying for it is it's mental. It's a massive difference. So for me, I think you're spot on, mate. We'll obviously touch on that as we go along, but I think it's very, very important, mate, that we qualify and we get the recruitment right because especially at the back, I think we've seen for the weekend and wee small instances through the season that we do need probably another centre back. Vickers out if we can, but we all know that takes scouting, it takes due diligence, it takes money. It's not going to be £3 a week and 3 pence. It's going to be a lot of money. So, but obviously as well, Aaron, a lot of people I've seen a lot of people on social media talking about obviously the home ticket scheme situation. Mainly because of at the moment the ballots have been out for the Hampden, and a lot of people are not happy because it is a 50-50 split, which is obviously going to happen because it's a cup final. But I think people are complaining at the fact that there's some people who are on a home ticket scheme. I've not had one for years, and there's some that get it all the time. And if you pay hospitality, you're guaranteed a ticket. If you've got money, you're guaranteed a ticket. Doesn't matter if you're in the ballot or no. If you want a day out, free bevy, free course meal, entertainment, make a day it. You can go and pay upwards to £500-600 to go and get a ticket. Which, by the way, I've no qualms about people doing it because if I had the money, I would go and do it if I really fancied it. If I didn't have a ticket for the game, do you know what? I've got a spare £500. When we'll go a day out, I don't go to a lot of games. I've got a chance to go, I'll go. Fair enough, but I just feel, Aaron, that football is becoming, especially in Scotland now, for me, right, nearly, I think upwards of, just say between 45 and £50 for a cup final. I don't know the actual ticket price yet because I'm not going. I'm not on the ballot. I've not got a ticket, so I've not seen the prices yet. I've not an email, so I don't know anything about the prices. But I'm going to up. If anybody in the comments can tell,
£50, I'm sure.
If anybody in the comments can tell me if I go to the game or I've got a ticket, I don't want to be misquoted here in terms of what people are paying. But the semi-final, the most ticket was £40, I think, and the least was £30. So you're probably talking just say £45-50 for a cup final ticket in Scotland. I think that's pretty expensive, Alan. Doesn't matter if it's Celtic Aberdeen, Celtic Rangers, or whatever. I think it should be a cap price. I think it's pretty dear because not just that, it's getting to Hampden as well. So you're getting supporters buses, you need to travel long distance. Like you said, you take kids with you, you're going to get them a programme or a pie, a bovril, a juice, a fruit shoot. It's everything that comes with football. It's not just the ticket price. People are coming from Ireland or maybe even Dubai, who knows, all the world to get these tickets and go to the game. So I do feel, Alan, this is not only Celtic, but this is on the SFA in terms of, I don't feel we market our game enough, Alan, in terms of the quality of the product, the pricing to price it. I'm sure it was Barry Hearn years ago done an interview on radio. If anybody who's a bit older than me might remember, but my dad told me this, I'm sure, that Barry Hearn came into Scottish football for maybe a meeting or online, on the radio to say that you don't brand your game enough. I've always said, like, see Motherwell, I don't go to Motherwell a lot, right, but just say Motherwell versus Aberdeen. Do you see a billboard promoting the game? I don't know, but I don't see anything anytime I'm running about. Even Celtic's a massive club, right? So Celtic don't need to promote Celtic because people know Celtic, right? But a lot of people might not really can't afford to go to see Celtic and Hibs, but they might afford to go and see Partick Thistle versus Ayr. But if they don't really look it up themselves, they don't really know of the games. There's no a publicisation of lesser teams or teams in the league that maybe aren't Celtic or Rangers. So I just feel, Alan, for the product that maybe, but I think the product's all right. The Pip was all right. There's some quality players in each team in Scotland, right? But for the money they're pricing, some people mentioned the kiosk price. We'll touch on that before we go. I think, Alan, that there's got to come and go. Even away tickets, we've seen it with the Dundee situation. Other teams are getting fleeced as well. There should be a cap. If it's 25 quid, 30 quid, whatever they think is a fair cap, cap the away tickets. Doesn't matter if it's Celtic, Aberdeen, cap the prices for away. The home tickets, aye, you can decide your tickets, but make it affordable because, like you say, mate, for me, people are going to no go to football. They'll go and watch golf. They'll go and play tennis. They'll go and take up, or they'll go and watch another team. I don't play Cavadi, aye, but I just feel, mate, that you're going to lose out in football players as well because young players go and say, oh, there's McGregor, there's Jota. Oh, I want to copy him. I like him. They'll go home, they'll do the Jota skill. But then if we don't, I just think for me, Alan, we're pricing, like you says, mate, we're pricing people out of football and it's putting people off if they go to the games because it's not just like me and you go, right? Just say I'm not a book order, right? And I go, just say it's 35 quid, right?
Yeah.
I might drink, I might like a beer, right? 2 or 3 pints. I might buy a Bovril. You then just say I like a gamble. I'm putting a coupon on. I'm having to travel, my petrol. You're maybe 70 quid for my football, and I've not got a win. I've not got a kid. But see, I've got a kid. I want a fruit shoot. I want this. I want a new strip.
Liam skills.
Liam skills. No, and I covered. It's not just the ticket price, Alan. It's everything that comes with the product. But I feel personally, Alan, some fans or the majority of fans, especially in Scotland, are getting priced out, mate.
Yeah, personally, I think it's a domino effect as well. You touched upon, we don't sell our game enough. That shows in the pitiful, shall we say, TV deals that we get.
Right, cheers, JP. I knew it was 45, 50 quid, mate. I knew it was going to be that. Cheers, mate. Thank you.
So the clubs are getting offered kind of pennies on the pound with regards to kind of the TV deals. And we're agreeing to take that. We're not looking out with that, and that's probably how countries like whether it be kind of Italy, Holland, Germany that are charging less for tickets is because they're bringing in financially more kind of revenue for TV money. The clubs are benefiting out of that. The clubs are getting that money, so they're not having to kind of put higher prices on, whether that be tickets, merchandise, etc. So I think the start of the domino effect is we're taking such a kind of low payment for the standard of game for the TV money. Dice is at an age, I don't know, you'd be talking massive money. That's the way, that been always stumbling block with that, JP, I think. We'd like him to see, we'd like to see him sign a new deal. I think obviously that's been spoken about the last few weeks that he's been offered a new deal. So that's the kind of thing that I'd worry about with, I think it was yourself, Ryan, that says that we don't know if Dyson might a bid come in for him. But back to the kind of ticket pricing you're looking at, I think it starts with TV deals. If we can get kind of more financial benefit out of a TV deal for all the clubs, then these clubs don't have to kind of charge as much as they are doing. I just think that it's starting to become far too expensive with all regards to kind of Scottish football. But you're looking primarily at the club that we support, and when you're looking kind of some of the pricing is pretty steep, you'd say. When we've spoke about a number of things, including the kind of season, but you spoke about what a day out would cost, and that would just be your good self without any family.
Here's just this is what I've took for our website. So if I'm wrong, then apologise. But I know the fact that the Celtic season book will take that away. I know for a fact that the cheapest is that because I'm actually on the cheapest. So I know that that's right because that was what I paid last year, a year before.
Aye.
So that is right. So the cheapest ticket for Hearts, this is 2025-26. Well, no, that was last year, and they put it as this year as a rough guide. But so Hearts is 340 according to this. Hibs 375, Aberdeen 379, United 380, Motherwell 390, Kilmarnock 420, Dundee 430, Rangers 457, and Celtic 608. I know Celtic is just about spot on because I'm on the lowest bracket, so I know that's right on my price. The rest I'm only going by which I've done my research on here. So for me, Alan, that's a team at Motherwell. If that is the truth, there's teams in Germany. I watched Open Goal. Slaney was in Germany yesterday, or other day, and a guy says what's the ball game? He's a Celtic fan, but he works in Germany or whatever. £16 a ticket to see St. Paul in Stuttgart. And a Stuttgart fan says a Stuttgart season book is about 100, I think it was €190 or 200 odd euros. And that's for, I think it was 19, 20 games or something, the guy says. Now, I'm only taking for what that guy says. So if that's gospel, the standard in the Bundesliga. But again, I get it, Aaron. They're obviously going to get more funding through
Sponsorship as
sponsorship
well,
and
mate,
Sky
because
Sport, La Liga, but the Liga, I'm talking about Spain here, the German TV rights and everything that comes with, I get all that, but I know they're able to do that because of that. But it just shows you, like you say, I'm sure years ago with Dortmund, if you use your ticket, you get a free bus. It's small things like that, mate. I think it's crazy.
yeah, when you look at sponsorship deals as well, I forgot about that. How many times for the Scottish Cup or the Scottish Premier League, if we went kind of a few months like, oh, we can't find a sponsor. I think William Hull gave it up. Was it the Scottish Cup? Did they? It was Ladbrokes gave up the. I bet responsibly. Ladbrokes gave up the Scottish Premier League or something like that. And we're struggling to kind of get money in through sponsorship. We're struggling to get kind of high level TV deals. The game might not be up to the standard to other leagues, but I think when you look at the kind of the pennies to the pound that we've got for that starts off in a domino effect. That then we need to charge more money for other things. When you look at the season, but the graphic you just put up there, that's what I stated earlier. I think that works out. We're about kind of 25% more than we're nearest rivals, and for that, I, I don't see why that's the case either. Two of them are kind of massive clubs. I know we usually have a bit of banter, we'll slag the other side of the city, but when you look at the kind of fan base of most clubs worldwide, they are massive clubs. The revenue that they can bring in with their fan bases are pretty similar, to be honest. Obviously, we've brought in a lot more money in the last kind of number of years because of the success that the club's got through kind of selling players and kind of Champions League money. But when you look at the kind of the level of the fan base, it's pretty similar. So for us to be charging 25% more than our nearest rivals, I don't know if that kind of marries up for me either. As pretty expensive. There's not much that me and you's going to do about kind of we're sitting here talking about oh Celtic they're too expensive. I don't think they're going to take any notice of us. But when you look at the kind of the majority of people that are going to Celtic are from central Scotland, from Glasgow, and these kind of cities and towns around about central Scotland, they're all kind of what working level societies. It's not as if a lot of these areas are kind of multi-millionaires and upper class, shall we say. So there is a lot of poverty within these parts of kind of Glasgow and central Scotland, and people are seeing football as a release, shall we say, to go to football, forget about your worries, forget about your troubles, and have a good time. With these kind of increases, is it going to price these kind of guys out that love going to their football, that love taking their children to the football, etc., and they put a high majority of their savings or their wages towards days out of the football? Is that going to affect it? Only time will tell. But I think with on the basis of how much it's increased over the last kind of few years, it's starting to get a bit too much. I think that it should there should somebody at Celtic or Scottish football be looking at that and going, Right, wait a minute, we're maybe going a bit too far here.
Aye, I know what JP said as well. There's people on the waiting list, a lot of people actually, which again, JP then makes fans just say like myself, all right, if I don't pay it, I'm going to lose my book. Or I'll pay it just, even though I can't afford it, I'll pay it just so I can go to maybe certain games. And it's then forcing fans to maybe pay the money because they're scared to lose their seat or they're scared to no go to certain games. So, aye, listen, I understand football as a business, Alan. I understand, like JP says, he's spot on that the club's got to move forward. Facilities, training gear, training facilities,
Aye, they're
everything's got
making
to
enough, but I think
no, no,
I know
no,
there's a line in
no,
there.
no. I
That's
know.
the point. There's a line.
I did get what JP saying. Football's moving forward. Society's moving forward. Everything's getting dearer, and they then need to obviously put things up to go with that. I get that, right? But people might think that I sound like a penny pincher. I'm sounding like I listen. I don't mind going out and spending money, but when it's sometimes your season books up, right, and then another fiver onto your new strip, training gears are up another fiver. Oh, then we'll go to the kiosk and a match day. Maybe your pie's up 50 pence. I'm sure last year for a pie and a bother of pie and juice, it was near £7. I can go to Asda and get a pack of pies for about the same price, even less, and walk out with change. So it's not the fact that, and the fact, by the way, see if I was getting a luxurious steak pie and the gravy was lovely and it's so crispy and
Uh,
it's not like you're
oh,
getting
but the
steak
used ones
mince.
are it? It's not as if
Aye,
it's just the
aye.
ones in the 4 pack you
It's,
get for a pound odds.
it's for
So it's
orange quality snacks.
uh,
It's not like you're
sawdust in
buying
it.
sawdust. It's not like you're getting butcher meat and it's lovely and it's
I
just
know.
listen.
But she'll meet the thing's never seen a coup.
It's
You
just,
know what I mean?
it's just no, I know that JP. I know they're no Celtics, mate, but it's just a wee bit of common sense, helping the fans in terms of you're going there just spending money. You shouldn't be paying £4 a pie. That's
Well, I think
un.
yours are Celtic side up,
Uh,
but Celtic should be aiming to keep a standard and a pricing system that reflects the values of the club. And for me, if you're paying £6 for a hot dog that you can get one that you put in the microwave for a pound, then for me, aye, that is the befitting of the standards and the pricings that we want to relate to the fan base. We want to relate as appreciating to the fan base. Thanks for being the supporters. For me, nah, I think there's a lot of aspects of the club that are absolutely brilliant. But reading the room and financing what they're charging the fans, basically, I think they need to have a good long think about that.
Aye, no, again, JP, I know it's no Celtic's fault in terms of what they charge, but even them, even the chaos, like I said, see if the food was lovely and the coke wasn't flat, and you would go, do you know what? I don't mind paying £4 for a really, really nice steak pie, right?
It's like one of us
But
having a party, right? One of us having a party, and we go, right, I've contracted that out. See if the food is red rotten. You wouldn't get back to them, would you?
no,
You
you want to
go,
go back to it.
I'm not giving that to the people that are the fans, etc. So it is Celtic's fault at the end of it as well. That pricing should not be that pricing. The quality should be at a higher standard. We're sitting down here talking about Celtic food, you know what I mean? It's bonkers, but it's just it's an accumulation of different things, right?
Un-
When you're taking into account speaking events, you're taking into account 25% more than your nearest rivals with season tickets. The increases you're talking about asking £25 right away for a friendly. You're talking about the merchandise. You're talking about adding on to football taps. And then you're talking, once you're paid on that, that's what we're talking about. It's a small wee thing about the food, but once you're paid on that, then you go in and you're getting scalped with that as well.
by the way,
That's the
it's not
point.
even Celtic, see, like even Arsenal. For like an Arsenal strip, you're talking probably £100 to tap. But yeah, by the way, you could probably go to Adidas, buy a plain Adidas tap for £15 at Sports Direct, go and get a printed Arsenal badge, and it looks like an Arsenal strip. It's, I know you wouldn't do it because listen, it sounds a bit cheapskate saying that, right? But I know you wouldn't do it. It's just wee small things, Alan, that it's not just Celtic, by the way, it's the full of Scottish football that
Uh,
it's just go to, I think in terms of pricing, Alan, they need to look at just making sure that fans are going. the football. Because, see, I'm sure, where was it
It's
down
the whole,
south?
it's
Was
the
it
whole
not down
event
south?
as well, Ryan.
Aye.
It's all day. That's what I'm seeing up there. I'm seeing one in the comment, right? I can't remember the name, but if fans don't like it, don't buy it, right? But you're paying to go for a day out. You're paying to go for an event, right? So in events like that, you would expect to have. Call me crazy, but you would expect to have a juice that is carbonated, that's got some sort of fizz in it. Know what I mean? Call me mental or call me a man Gordon Ramsay, but I, I a glass of Coke that doesn't taste as if it's came from the 1970s or something. Right, that's just a basic standard for me. So it's not about take it or leave it. It's if you're there with family, if you're there with a child or something, they say, oh I want something to drink, etc. You're not going to go, no, I'm not paying that because it's flat. Go and drink out the toilet or something. You're not going to say that, so it's
go,
the first
go,
that
go to Spain
aye,
and drink out the toilets.
that's what I mean. So you're not going to say that. So you're kind of and but the fact of the matter is as well. Technically, you're not allowed to take bottles in. You're not allowed to take cans into the stadium. So you are basically.
Chai says you're losing the plot because you're talking about carbonated Coke.
So but you're basically forced to. You're basically forced to go with them.
Aye,
To
Webby.
go
Hope
with
you're
them
well,
up
mate.
here. So there's Webby there. I hope you're very well, Webby. But I know he'll come on. He's like these mad guys are talking about kind of buying hot dogs at Celtic Park. No,
No,
everybody's wanting
but
to
no,
clap
and
out.
well, listen, a serious
But that's
conversation,
the
right?
end there.
Aye, a serious conversation. Like, I understand it's there for you to buy. You don't have to buy it. You can have things before the game, and I get it all right. But you can't take a plastic bottle of water into the game in case you throw it. You can't take a coffee bottle in. You can't do nothing, but yet you can buy a hot bottle. So I can't take a coffee into the stadium in case it's alcohol or in case whatever. But I can go buy a hot bottle just because it's been bought in there.
Mm.
But no, listen, it's not the fact.
Aye. But
I'm no moaning because I'm moaning. I don't buy it anymore. That's because I'm not paying £7 for a Coke and a pie. I refuse to do it. I don't mind buying a bottle during the winter when it's cold and I'm freezing. Right? I'll get a wee hot drink because I'm cold. But it's like you say, Alan, it's no just Barry, it's not just Celtic. This is the further Scottish football. I've been to away games and it's pricey. It's not just Celtic, it's further Scottish football. They've got to look at making like you say, right, last bit and then we'll obviously end the show, Alan. If you're going like I'm a dad, I'm not a dad, right? So if I had a kid going to the game, buying tickets, like you say, just say I'm a skint, right? I'm a single dad, I've got a kid and I can only afford to take my son to the game. Maybe he's wanting food at the game, Dad, but you can't go to your son, sorry, son, I'm skint. You'll buy him it because it's your son. You want to make sure your son's having a good day out. So it's small things like that. He wants a programme. He might want a new scarf. But again, people might say, well, if you can't afford it, don't go. That's fine. But I'm not a dad, but I know for a fact that if your sons want to go to football, you're going to make sure you're doing everything you can and make sure he's happy or he's enjoying his day. So it's just wee false things like me, but I'll leave the last bit to you, mate. People might think we're crazy. I'm no, I'm just saying that overall in Scottish football, Alan, I just think they need to tone things down a wee bit and make sure fans are gone because I'm sure it was Bradford City down south recently. I'm sure they get about 18, 17,000 every game down there, right? But I'm sure they either made it, it was either a fiver or something like 20 quid or something. I can't remember what it was, but it was a sold out. Stadium was sold out because they made the ticket prices cheaper and they got to sell it. So it just shows you if teams like Motherwell or Aberdeen did well recently, to be fair, they've sold out a few games. But St Mirren, see if they made it a fiver cheaper, they might actually get another 500 people in the door.
well, I just want to clear something up in the comments. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing again and again, expecting a different outcome. It's no description of insanity or anything. It's something else. So,
Lindsay,
uh,
that's us. Lindsay, that's us
we're
ski.
not talking.
That's camp for still game, Lindsay. A wee bit Oxo.
Uh, hey, Oxford.
Aye.
No, I think it's went away from the point. I think that's a smaller part of the whole discussion that we've had. Right, we're talking about every aspect to where the club is. basically increasing the amount of money they're taking for the fans. Like this is beyond the kind of inflation rate. This is you're talking about the first of all the speakers like with Martin O'Neill that was brought up, like £60 for that name day. That for
Take care,
me
JP. Speak to you soon,
value
mate.
uh value for that isn't there. You're looking at we're 25% dearer than we're nearest rivals with season books. We've had I don't know how much I'm up to. It's about 7% rise in the season book year on year. And then you're looking at kind of whether it be Adidas or whether it be Celtic, but Celtic get a big cut of that as well. That they're increasing the kind of the memorabilia, merchandise, etc. And then the last aspect of that, once you've paid all of that, that's the only reason we're talking about chaos. That's the only reason we're talking about food. Because once you've paid all that extra there, then you go into the game. And if you want to make that a day out, and if you want to buy, say it be a pie, a hot dog, a ball roll, a juice, a carbonated drink, if you want to do that, that's the point where that's kind of the value isn't quite there either. That's the only reason we're mentioning that. It's a combination of things that I think that as a club, they should be maybe looking at the appreciation of fans, shall we say. Just a token gesture. And I think the ideal situation for that token gesture after the season books have went up might have been the Newcastle game on the season book. I think that would have been that would make the fans go, right, they're actually thinking about it. That's a nice wee gesture. That's great. It's a small thing to happen. It's not going to cost the club. We're not going to be kind of potless and in the gutter by the end of the week. So I think it's just the small things to make sure that we keep the fans on board and make sure that the fans are appreciated, because it just seems like a kind of take where there should be a wee bit of give back.
Oh, sorry to hear that, Ryan. Take it back. Aye, mate, it's been a good chat. It's been good to get the viewers involved, and obviously Nick put in the conversation about the European thing. That was good to break up as well. So, again, people might listen at the end of that and think that we're absolutely crazy, but we're just looking out for the fans. We're wanting the fans to get the best of value if possible in terms of pricing wise. Listen, we all know that winning trophies is part of the value, it's part of the success, it's part of why you go, but it's the wee other small things like the pricing and other things. But overall, Alan, it's been good to chat to you again, mate. We'll let you know on the socials when we're back on. There's one or two wee obviously things that have been on in the background, so we'll need to figure out when we're back on the rest of the week. But until then, stay safe, take care, enjoy the Glasgow sunshine while it's here, because in a few days, every weekend it may be away again. So enjoy the rest of your day, enjoy the rest of your week, Alan. Take care, and we'll see you all very, very soon.
Well.